Welcome back. Thursday afternoon. Yes, Thursday afternoon, not Friday. So, finished up with the Z32 in the background there. That's going to be driven away tomorrow. And as I said, we're going to move on with the BMW. At least some of the bits that we need to deal with this spaghetti that I created here. Taking full ownership of that. That did not arrive looking like that. I've abbreviated this wiring specialties harness to suit a right-hand drive car. I'm pretty sure it's made for a left-hand drive car, and they want to run the harness from there across to there, which creates a lot of extra length, and I just wasn't happy trying to tuck it away and hide it and do a rough job of it, you know. So we got ourselves some pins, just one or two. That should be enough for the job, I reckon. Where are the plugs? Far out. Okay, oh yeah, they're hiding on the ECU, which is down in here. Yeah, it's such a mess at the moment. So there's... Can I do that with one hand? Oh, she's a bit tight, a bit tricky. There we go. There we go. So that white thing that you can see there just above my thumbnail, that runs right through the whole plug, and it's a locking device. It stops the terminals coming loose inside the plug and the wires pulling out and bad things happening. So you pop that out of the way, and then you can pull the wires out and you can shift them to different places or remove them if you don't need them. If you do remove them, I'm not sure that they did. No, they didn't. There are blanking devices that go in there. Where are they, Glenn? That's a can of cancer. Not blanking devices. There they are. These should also be on my bench over here. They're supposed to blank off the ports, I'll call them, and the plugs that you don't use to stop water and stuff and dirt and yuck getting in there and ruining things later on. You possibly won't have problems with that being in a box inside here, but it's the professional way to go about it. So the liar on the wall says it's just after 1. It's probably 1:30 or 2 o'clock or something. And this is going to be me for the rest of the afternoon, I would say. This is looking better. Stop laughing, it is. It is looking better. So obviously there's a fair bit more stuff that has been shortened up and just goes from there to there. That's about the bulk of... There's a few other little ones, but that's the bulk of it taken care of. The rest of this mess, or the untidy clutter I'm going to call it, that's here, there's a few things that are here that just really don't need to be. The connector there in between this and the CAN unit, I understand why they put that there. Same with these ones here, but they don't have to be there. They are just making things quite cluttery and messy, and when we're trying to fit it all into a relatively small area, the less clutter you have, the better. This plug here, for instance, this goes into our awesome CAN Lambda unit that's sitting there. This plug does not need to go all the way from the ECU all the way through another plug to there. This plug and the wires that are attached to it can actually be about that long. ECU to there. Obviously we'll follow the rest of the harness. So significantly shorter, because our CAN Lambda unit can actually fit inside there like that with still a good amount of harness. Not being silly with it at all. That's a realistic length for everything. We'll put that inside there. We only need next to nothing for that plug. We certainly don't need another plug in between to get to this plug. So I'm going to go through and abbreviate a few things like that. This plug here with another plug on the other side of it, which is something to do with speed calibration. Basically we've got the green wire that's here, goes through to the white wire, goes to that other white wire that goes out and then goes off to that plug there. So the rest of those wires, the other two wires that are on there, go nowhere. So we can literally cut this all out and just have one of these green wires going to that white wire and do away with more fluff. Another plug deleted. So there's our CAN system going to our CAN lambda unit, which is obviously, it's just sitting at the moment, but it won't be sitting when we're finished. It'll be secured. See? Skitty. Basketty! Not this basketty, that's something else. It's a power cord, we better not cut that. But, all that basketty, we don't need that. There's lots more coming out. We'll carry on tomorrow. Friday, yay! So Friday morning, I have to fire my workshop. Pixies are supposed to come in at night and finish everything off for me, because clearly. So that box there, I was thinking about putting it inside the car, but actually it'll fit in there with the ECU, with room to spare. Obviously I'm not just going to chuck it in there like that. It's got double-sided tape on the back of it, which would be pretty handy to stick it about there somewhere. Down there, and do something with a mount for the ECU to sort that out. I've talked about this plug here, and I've looked at things. I really don't think we need that, and it just makes clutter and just makes it harder to get a nice tidy install in there without excessive harness flopping around, jiggling and wriggling and pulling on things and wearing against things. And I mean, if this was let's say it's a SEMA build and it only has to run for next to nothing, they'll hardly ever use it most of the time. You would just jam all that in there and put the lid on it and go, good, she's good, mate, done. But we're not about that. We want to make things actually do what they need to do and last. I don't want to have customers ring me in 2 years' time, oh, it doesn't do whatever, it's broken. So let's get rid of all this spaghetti, the extra stuff, and do away with some of the plugs. Some of these wires here, things like this one here where it adapts into the original BMW harness, we'll leave that there, that plug. But some of these wires, they just run all the way through here, through this plug and through here and then back into here somewhere. So I don't really see the point in leaving stuff like that when we've gone this far. Lunchtime at the pasta factory. We're getting there. This is obviously nowhere near finished, but without doing serious loop-the-loops with any wires, we've got most of it enclosed in that case, and I've still even got the extension or expansion harness included in this mess. It's actually just lying on the floor just to get rid of. None of these are plugged in at the moment or need to be, but we will leave this attached. All this will get sorted out, insulated and all that sort of carry on. Still quite a bit of length that could disappear from a few things, but we don't need to get super carried away. We do need to tidy up a little bit more, obviously, and mount the EFI relay and things like that. You know, you want to leave it lying around like that. And all these ones here, I've just got to go and have lunch, but all these ones here need to be abbreviated, as I have done with this harness here. Was much the same. This other brown one, and it's now mint, all tucks away there quite nicely. It looks hella messy, but there's actually not much of it there now compared to what it was. So by the time that's covered, wrapped or whatever, cable tied together to tidy things up, it's going to look good. And it's going to stop it all wriggling and jiggling and wearing and punching holes and things. And of course we've got a cover that should fit over the top of that. I haven't tried it, but I'm assuming it will fit over the top of that once it's all down nice and flush and level. And we'll have to make a blank to go in here, stop stuff going in that side. And try and get hold of the powder coat and see if they're open or not. I guess I'll send them a message on Facebook. Easy as. Best 5 minutes on the whole job. But just slightly more than 5 minutes. A couple minutes more than 5. But that's pretty good. That fits. It'll look quite tidy when everything else is done. Obviously there's a oil catch can type thing that sits here, and we'll hide that plug. It will mount the map sensor. You don't leave those just lying around like that. This is plastic, so we can just drill and tap into that, mount it onto that, or onto the oil catch can. I'll wait till I've got that back before I make that call. Still not actually finished under here, but it's not terrible. You could potentially run it like, not going to, it needs finishing off, but basically we'd just tidy up the ends of the insulated bits, group them together, cable tie, heat shrink around there or whatever, mount the relay somewhere rather than just flopping around. Again, this is just plastic, you can just pop it over here or something like that, whatever, tidy that all up, it'll be beautiful. It's good. Happy with that. I think I'll have a very early day, I'm thinking. We can't go anywhere or do anything. We're still waiting to hear when that's going to be picked up. So, never mind. At least it's not raining outside. I might go. Should we go have a bounce on trampoline? That's a great idea. Alright. Cheers, bye. Don't be silly. I don't have time for trampolines. Inlet manifold back on. And all the injectors are all plugged in. It's a pity those seals in the injectors aren't black. They're bright orange. And never mind. That's done. Rang the powder coaters, didn't get through, assuming they're not open. So this one's going to stall for a little bit. It won't be a heck of a lot more I can do. I have run some of this harness through and plugged it into the headlight and stuff like that. And figured out which one was ground, which one was power for the fans. I'll figure out where the relay is and make sure that the output from the ECU to control that relay is set up correctly. It probably isn't at the moment, I suspect, but don't know for certain. There's still a bit to do, a bit of cleaning and stuff. I ran around with a bit of CRC and made this side look nicer, and we can do the same over here before we put things back together, and organise some clamps etc. to hold these main power cables, all that sort of carry on. It's still here. I'm going to have to shuffle cars around to do any work on this on the weekend. Never mind, that's life. Right, let's see if I find something else to do, or whether that's that.